I'm Billy Cypher. I'm here with Bass Invaders, and this is my spotlight. So I was born in Lambeth, South London, in 1988. I was one of five kids. My dad wasn't around too much. He was off doing his thing. I grew up listening to a lot of old school like blues music. I used to borrow my mum's CDs to start with, a lot of Bob Dylan, a lot of Bob Marley. Both of my grandfathers were poets. I felt like I inherited an understanding and a commandment of literature, and I had a way with words from early. My older sister introduced me to a UK rap crew called Mark B and Blade back in like '99 or something. It was called The Unknown. It was probably the first album I got my hands on that like really let me know that I could get involved in something like that. Like it made it feel more accessible because I was already rhyming and whatnot. So yeah, I became quite heavily influenced with hip hop from then, from like 11 years old. At secondary school, when I was 13, I was expelled for selling drugs. Yeah, I was sort of out of class, out of school, couldn't find work. Obviously, you're too young to work, but luckily my mum was an art teacher around the community. She did a lot of community-based art with kids and whatnot, and managed to get me onto a local art and design course at the local college. I was 14, I was the youngest there. After that, I became a bit more heavily involved in other things. I was taking harder drugs. I was doing a lot of ecstasy, a lot of cocaine, stuff like that. I was selling a lot of drugs at the time because it was obviously I'm too young to work, and it was a way of making money. A lot of my friends were still doing the same thing. A lot of them didn't really make it out of that cycle. At 16, I was arrested for a street robbery. It was alcohol related. We got into a fight and I ended up being incarcerated. I served 6 months out of that at 16. That was a bit of a shock, you know, that was a shock to the system because I'm a 16-year-old kid from the countryside. And yeah, it was tough, like I'm not gonna lie, it was tough. I was scared, I was really small. I was one of the smallest for like my age group. But I always try to make a positive situation out of a negative situation, no matter how difficult that might be. So, and there was like a poetry competition when I first landed on the wing, like a couple of weeks into it. There was a poetry competition on the subject of alcohol and drug misuse, which was obviously right up my street because that's where I came from. So I entered that. I came first prize in that. I was, even in such a negative place, I was excelling even still. I was reading, I was writing a lot, just listening, getting my head down, listening to my music and really wanting to make it go with it. To go from having the freedom in the countryside to get like from being high with your friends and listening to music and running around wild to be confined in like in a little box, like, it was a bit of a shock. My brother-in-law, who was a hip hop DJ, he used to send me CDs, like old school CDs, some instrumentals. I'd have hip hop instrumentals sent in to me. So I used to write to them. I was lucky I got into a radio course in Huntercombe. It was the second jail that I went to. We learned about being on air. We learned about how to record and stuff like that. And that's where I recorded my first song. I was 16 and I pressed record and I recorded the whole track from start to finish to the end. Spat the first verse and then the hook and then the second verse and then the hook all in one take. And then I pressed the button and I did the ad-libs the same. Yeah, I was quite happy with the outcome and people liked it. It got played on the local prison radio, so I used to hear myself at lunchtime being played out, which was good. Yeah, 2 weeks before I got out, I had a phone call and my first thought that immediately entered my head was about my brother, and I feared that something would have happened to him. And when I picked up the phone, it was my mum in tears, and she told me that he'd been arrested for attempted murder. This was 2 weeks before I got out, so it was a bit of a life changer, really. He'd just been accepted into university for a music course as well, so it was like a sad time for the whole family. Obviously, I get out 2 weeks after that, trying to find my feet again as a 17-year-old kid, like thinking I'm a man, but I wasn't. I was a young boy still, like still just wild and angry pissed off about my brother and everything that had happened. And it's like life wasn't the same as I knew it. Do you know what I mean? It was different. Through the young offending team, at the time, the probation services that was working with me, they recommended I do a short course on music, and it was music production, performance, which was amazing. Like, we used to spend 2 days a week. We would produce music, we'd write to it, we'd go to the studio, we'd record it, and it was just like a great way of meeting other kids that were similar to me, that had a similar passion for what I wanted to do. Obviously, like, knowing my brother and what he was about to do and having that taken away, like, for something stupid that he did, made me really want to, like, knuckle down and focus on what I wanted. The music thing was it, really. It gave me a solid focus. That whole writing process of what's going on in your mind, like, no matter how chaotic it might be, to be able to get that out from something mental and turn it into something physical and then give it out to people to respond to, like, that was magic, and that always stuck with me. Music was like, it was this straight line that gave me this focus that I never really strayed too far away from it. So no matter how many times I may have fell off or wherever I went or what I did or anything, music was always there to keep me grounded and give me that solid focus that I needed to keep going. So yeah, my first solo project, when I came back, I came to London probably like 21, 22. So I moved away from everything and started again in London. I was writing a lot, and then I found a studio down in Victoria. I was just buzzing, like, I was so hungry for it. So I'd go to the studio with like 6 or 7 tracks. I'd get them all done, get them down. I'd get home and I'd like literally release them that evening. I'd release a couple that evening. And then, like, yeah, just doing like freestyle videos and stuff like that, just trying to get out there, you know, networking with people and producers and finding people along the way that were interested in what I was doing. And then, yeah, a bit later on, one of my friends who lives in Poland now hooked me up with Alize and Mazulu, and we got into a little Up to Beat project. It was nice. It was a nice vent to be able to meet like other creative people that were as hungry as I was, you know, because I didn't really have that before. I was just doing this thing by myself. I did a couple of battles. I did a couple of rap battles. I wanted to try my hand at that because I always had my way with words. From there, I did a show on Bass Heaven. That was like a big show. That was a big turning point for me. And yeah, I kind of flopped with probation, which is obviously stupid, like a proper stupid thing to do. I missed a couple of appointments, and I was sent back to prison for a couple of months. It was only a couple of months, and I'm sitting in the prison cell learning my lyrics. I had a couple of songs sent to me. I'm learning my lyrics for the show that we had that was on Boxing Day. I never forget it. A lot changed then. That was the last time I went to prison. A lot changed there. I felt like a bit more grown up. I knew what I wanted to do. That was an amazing show. I got to meet like some real legends. Like, it really stuck with me, that one. Yeah, so since then, doing music videos and things like that. I did one music video for a track called Suicide Fame. It was a narrative music video where I had to act in the video. It was my first time acting or anything like that. I loved it. I did. I loved it. And people who watched the video, my old boss at the time, who was a music man himself, just told me that I had to follow it up. Like, he said I had this on-screen presence that I needed to follow up. So, yeah, so I took people's advice with the drama thing, and I did a bit of research, and I managed to get an audition at a drama college. I nearly fobbed it off, like I nearly didn't do it, and I'm so glad that I did it. I turned up to the college on my audition day. I hadn't learnt the scripts or anything like that. I didn't know it off by heart. So I'm in my audition now. I'd never had an audition in my life for anything, like, and I'm reading the script, like I'm on the script and not making eye contact or performing whatsoever. I'm just literally just reading the damn script, and obviously it was pathetic. And the teacher just stopped me there and was like, "Listen, can you perform one of your poems for us?" So like, I told him I could perform a rap for you, and basically I performed a rap, which got me into the college. I had no qualifications. I had nothing. Like, I had no GCSEs. I left school when I was 13. I had nothing. Ever since I graduated a few months back, and I went straight into a couple of films. I've been flown out. I've been like to Europe a couple of times on the back of acting. I went to Benidorm to film a Bollywood movie. I was a villain in a Bollywood film, doing a fight scene, which was amazing. Started filming a film called The Recluse. It's a vampire movie. Got flown out to Paris, hotel, everything paid for, all expenses. I'm going with it, you know, like just seeing where it takes me and just enjoying the ride. Yeah, I graduated from college a few months back, and yeah, it's just going well. I'm just focused. We're making more music again. I took a little bit of time out, you know, like music was everything to me, and I put my heart and soul into it, but I had nothing to back it up with. So nights where you're struggling for a place to sleep or a meal to eat, do you know what I mean? Because you're putting your heart and soul into something that's not really going to bring you back the revenue that you need to survive. So yeah, I'm glad like I'm on a right path now, and I'm able to keep it moving nowadays, and I feel a bit more refreshed. So the new music's a bit different from what it was when I was like an angry youth or whatnot. A bit more chilled, a bit more wisdom about myself, a bit more knowledge of self that I'm able to showcase in the new stuff. But yeah, it's all good. I guess like my advice to a younger me would be, yeah, just stay focused, but hold yourself a bit more, be a bit more grounded, a bit more chilled out with what you do. Because over the years, like, I've been all over the place. I've lived at so many different places. I've never been settled anywhere, like in and out of jail, different places to live. Like I've moved around so much that I've never really grounded myself in one spot and sat down and been able to take the next step because I've just been going with it. So I've been a bit able, although it's been good at times, but it's not really. Sometimes you need a bit of stability to be able to make the next steps. One thing that I wish I had growing up was I wish I had like a solid base, like a solid trade or anything that always backed me for what I was doing. Yeah, something solid to financially support me so I could have a place to live and it put food on the table whilst I then create. Do you know what I mean? Because being an artist and putting your heart and soul into everything that you do is not necessarily going to make you any money. Like there's going to be nights that you go without. And I've definitely sacrificed like a lot to do what I'm doing. But yeah, it's having the balance between work and business and pleasure and having that whole balance between creating and being serious. So have fun, like just have fun and enjoy it. Be creative, experiment, like try different things. Don't worry about what anyone else is doing or any sounds that they're making. Just do your own thing. Don't make decisions based off emotion, you know? Like mind out what you're doing. Like if you're being influenced by certain things around you, like whether that's alcohol or drugs or the people that you're chilling with, like don't be influenced by that. Like stay your own path and create your own journey for yourself. Like you have to stay focused in your journey and do what's right for you. There's a whole bunch of consequences that come from actions, so you have to make them count, you know? Like the more negative things that you put out there, the more negative stuff you're gonna get back. Like that's how the universe works. So that, yeah, I remember like my whole energy and everything I was putting out there was negative at one point, and therefore karma was just coming back, and it was like one thing after another. Yeah, you have to get your mind right and stay the course and keep going, no matter how tough it gets. Like just stay focused and know that where you come from, like that doesn't hinder where you're going. Do you know what I mean? The decisions that you make are down to you, and you can change it. Anyone, like we all have the power to change as human beings. That's the beauty behind it. We can all change and create something better for ourselves. You have to, yeah, stay focused and doing what's good for you, I think.